Hey everyone, this is Rachel and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. If you hang out until after the video is through, there are always detailed shots of my current layout. Let's get going! Hey everyone, so today I've got something a little bit different for you. I'm not just going to be doing one layout today, I'm going to be doing two. I'm working on a challenge for a message board I belong to online, and the challenge is called Theme or Not to Theme. And so basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be scrapbooking a layout using themed product for an unthemed layout, and then I'm going to be using an unthemed kit I put together to scrapbook a themed layout. So the theme here is going to be first day of school, but I'm going to be using generic product in order to scrap that. And then the first layout I'm actually going to work out is this one, which is themed for like little boy outer space type of thing, but obviously I'm using pet photos, so not going to be a space little boy theme. I'm also going to be working with the dreaded vertical horizontal photo combination, so that will be super fun. I'm going to be working with Photoplay papers, To the Moon and Back collection, wow, words, for my first layout. And then as I said, this little kit I put together has a bunch of Dear Lizzie and Studio Calico papers, and then just some random embellishments I pulled from my stash. So definitely a stash kit going on for my second layout. So this video is going to be a little bit longer than my usual videos, so enjoy or watch in two parts, or do whatever makes you feel happy. All right, so as I mentioned, the first layout I'm going to do starts with Photoplay paper. All I have for this is the 12 by 12 element stickers and then 2 pieces of paper. I went to Long Island for my housemate's mother's 90th birthday, and I swung by with a friend who lives in Long Island. She's also a YouTuber. Her name is Marianne. She's scrapping at ya here on YouTube, and we went to a lovely scrapbooking store called Scrap-A-Latte, and I picked these items up along with a couple of other things. Very, very small purchase. Trying to be sticking to the, not spending a ton of money right now because I've got tons of scrapbooking stuff and I don't really need anything new. And yet I ended up with new things. All right, folks, at this point, I'm just kind of nattering on, as I usually am wont to do. So I'm going to go ahead, get you guys put on fast forward, and get started on this layout. All right, folks, let's get going. I'm just looking through, and as I said, this idea came from a challenge. This actually is my challenge. That's why I'm doing both of them as examples. And for me, I was drawn to this multicolor stripe paper. And you'll see here, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do uh, my photos. When you're working with photos that are opposite, they can be difficult. I find usually the easiest thing to do is to either make them a grid or, and then use a third piece to fill in that to make it that rectangle shape that is easy on the eyes, or to do what I'm going to end up doing here, which is layering the photos. The trick to this is to not have the photos line up on the end. You can see this paper is called Infinity and Beyond. And I actually don't know how old this line is. So this could be a new line, this could be an old line. Just to be on the safe side, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do screenshots of the names in case they are kind of new. So I go to the second piece of paper I purchased from this, and my idea is that I'm going to use this journaling block, and all I'm going to do, and this is called Out of This World, and all I'm going to do is trim off the alien, and that's perfectly usable as just a regular non-themed item. This is where a lot of B-sides come into play, where you can use just the colors and the moods of the papers to use for your not themed layouts, or for, obviously I could use a pet themed line if I wanted to, but I'm not going to in this case. So I took that other cut apart using the plaid piece, and I'm tucking that behind, and I really like the way this ended up looking. It's a pretty simple layout. I don't use a lot of embellishments, although like for me, I don't use a lot of embellishments. I keep it pretty simple, but sometimes that's great, even if you're someone who usually heavily embellishes, there's nothing saying you can't do a more simple layout. Or if you're someone who normally does very simple layouts, there's nothing wrong with, chucking it all on the paper once in a while. So one of the things I was absolutely in love with this sticker sheet was this star border sticker. Oh, so pretty. And I thought that will look cute on the bottom, and then I will go ahead and put the title right above that. I really wanted to use that word dream, but I had also planned on having a specific title for this layout when I first took the photos. So I know I'll use that word dream somewhere else. And what you'll see me doing now is I'm using some of these planets and these aliens, and by tucking them under pieces of paper, they are not planets and aliens. They are simply shapes that are base layers for my embellishments. I'm then going to use several of the star stickers, and now I'm looking towards these word stickers. Now this one says astronomically awesome, so I just trimmed off the awesome part and used that. And then something like you amaze me, which even though it's on this sticker sheet that's space themed, it's not space words on that particular one, so it definitely works out. Now I'm almost finished with this layout minus the journaling, which is going to take me a little bit of while because I am going to fill up that entire thing. I do grab some Bella Boulevard blueberry enamel hearts and I spread those around in each of my embellishment clusters. And now you'll also see I'm using some Bella Boulevard wonky puffy alphas, I think they're actually called, for my title called Toy Hog, which is exactly what this story is about. For those of you who don't know, my dog is the dog on the right. That is Sadie. She is a miniature schnauzer. And the dog on the left is my grandparents' dog, and he is a Bichon Frise called Toby, and he comes usually once a year. He hadn't come for a couple of years due to some ill health my grandmother had. But when they go on vacation, Toby comes and hangs with us. And Toby, poor dude, he's not allowed to bring any toys over because Sadie steals them. As you can see, while I'm finishing up with some misting here in Rose Gold Red, Tuscan Sun, and Jenny B. Blue, Sadie has about 9 toys in her bed, whereas Toby is cuddling up with the one toy Sadie apparently missed. She is a toy hog. She doesn't let anyone play with her toys. I think I've talked about that before on a different layout, but this particular set of photos was particularly funny. And that finished up that layout, and now I'm moving on to layout number 2. Now, the original plan was to start this layout directly after I finished my previous layout. I finished my previous layout, and then I went to go pick up my nephew from music lessons. And when I walked back in the house, I noticed it was not warm in my house. And unfortunately, not unfortunately that I'm scrapbooking in my dining room, but my dining room happens to be the coldest room in a house. So if there's an issue with the furnace, there is absolutely no heat in my dining room. And there was an issue with the furnace that got fixed the next day. So I had to wait a day in order to do this. So I've got these 3 photos, and you may notice there's some washi tape at the top. That's just because it's the name of my nephew's school. You'll also see the bonus child is featured in this particular layout as well. They go to the same school as my nephew. And so for this particular layout, I'm going to end up doing a grid style, even though, I mean, I'm only using 3 photos. So, oh, and of course, the second my ATG runs out, Xanthi's up going, ooh, is that glue? I like glue. Glue is awesome. Um, so I had to change out my ATG and immediately get rid of the leftover tape because Xanthi loves glue tape. So I've got those placed in a grid style, and for those of you who don't know, this is my Caterpillar crop. It has a light. I've been babying the batteries by whacking the side of it and it will come on. Those batteries now have completely died, and yet I still have not actually replaced them. So if you're wondering about the tapping fingers, which is not something I normally do, I've been debating whether or not to use those numbers to write out 18-19, which is this school year. And I've just been debating about it, that it's awfully big. I'm not a big user of numbers, blah, 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 blah. I decided I'm going to go ahead and use them. And I'm fussy cutting out the 8 and the 9. And Xanthia's like, I want the remnants. Give me the remnants. So I'm going to placate her with the remnants of the number 9. And she will be much happier being able to chew on paper in the little box behind where I scrapbook. You see she's seeing if there's any more papers. You can see her in the upper left-hand side there while I am working on my layout. What's funny is I actually don't notice her while I'm scrapbooking. It's only when I watch back to edit and voiceover that I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so obnoxious. All right, so these little banner chipboard pieces, those are from Freckled Fawn. I actually won them on a Patreon of Heather's Crafty Life, and she has contests every month, and that's one of the things I won when I won her sketch challenge last month. I'm going to use that banner piece, the dark teal one, as what would normally be the dash when you write like 18/19. I also pulled out 2 more to use in some embellishment clusters. I went through what I call my die cut pack when I don't have it as part of a collection. I just do colors. So this is my aqua teal envelope. And so I just kind of went through and pulled out some things I thought might work. I then also went through a leftover pack I have from Pebbles Girl Squad and pulled that out because I knew there were some things in there that were the similar colors I was looking for. So I have that aqua file tab thingy up at the top that I've put down, and now I'm going ahead and gluing down my numbers. I kind of like that they're all different sizes because I couldn't find a 1, an 8, and a 9 that were all the same size. So I'm like, well, if I can't find them all the same size, we'll go for all different sizes instead. My liquid glue had migrated somewhere else, so I had to go and find it. That happens sometimes. Like you move things to move something else, and then you forget to move it back, and then you're going, all right, where'd that go? All right, so as I said, I pulled out some die cuts. Some I'm going to use, some I'm not going to use. I found this outline of an alarm clock. I have no idea where it came from. You ever have that stuff where you're like, I don't remember buying this. Okay, it kind of works. Back to school, having to use the alarm clock again. I then found a little journaling spot, and I'm going to put that there. I'm not going to journal on screen. I'm just going to write down their school, just in case they forgot where they went to high school. And but I'm not going to do that on screen. I'm using that number 1 that is actually from a thicker word pack that was part of this kit I had put together. And then I'm going to use these LE Studio Alphas to finish off the first part of my title, which is First Day. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to use for the last part of my title, so I'm just moving on to something else for the moment. So I grabbed those black arrows that are also part of that thicker set, and I believe that's a Vicky Boutin. I got that as part of a Peachy Cheap deal. So now I'm just playing with these die cuts again, trying to see what will work where. I have that woohoo hat. I've got these good vibes sunglasses, and then a backpack that has the word hello on it. I was super stoked to find the backpack because I thought that worked really well. At first, I was thinking about using these gold glitter thickers, but there are no S's. And apparently I felt if I flipped the page back and forth for a while, the S's would magically appear, but no, they did not. Instead, I'm going to go with these puffy stickers. I do the word senior, and then I'm debating whether to continue the word year in that same blue, but I also have that same font in a lime green, and since I'm using this backpack and there really isn't any other green on the layout, I thought I should use that for the word year, and that way it just, has more than one green item on the entire thing. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. I'm just finishing up adding the rest of the embellishments. I think I'm pretty close to being done here. The only thing I'm going to do once I get that grouping done over by the title is go and get some enamel dots. Oh, what am I doing? I'm using liquid glue. Why? I don't know. Oh, I had a couple other of those chipboard banner pieces and I needed to reinforce those with liquid glue. I'm like, why did I grab my liquid glue? I don't remember. Sometimes I goof off and I don't even realize it. I do add a couple of these puffy stickers. They're from Amy Tangerine. I when I do my kits, sometimes I'll grab a couple of things that I've almost used up and just chuck them in there. And that way, hey, maybe I'll use them. And in this case, I actually did. All right, I am almost done here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm finishing off this layout with some My Mind's Eye enamel dots, and that will be the end of it. Thank you guys so, so much for this double take of 2 layouts in one. All right, folks, thank you. Please flick me a thumbs up if you can. Bye, everyone. There's plenty of photos of both layouts coming up, or there right now.